Hi everyone, I'm Ruth Galpine. I'm the Group Marketing Manager at UBM for the Protection and Management series, and I'm going to talk you through, just move on to my starting slide, talk you through today what we're doing to market the shows to visitors, how some initial registrations are looking, some stats from our pre-reg to date, and then also what you guys can be doing over the next few weeks and months in order to get the most out of exhibiting at the shows through marketing and PR. So in terms of what we're trying to achieve for 2015 then, we really want to build on all of the success that we had last year. As Simon mentioned, in terms of visitors, we were up across the series in numbers, and we also saw specific pockets of growth from our international audience. Across the series, we took our international from 19% up to 23% of our visitors, which is actually huge growth on a show of 40,000. We want to continue to do that again. We also want to build on our end users, which were another sort of key growth group for moving to London. On IFSEC and FAREX in particular, we grew these from 30% to 35%, and again, we want to continue to do so. So we had some great successes we want to build on, but we also recognise that we have some work to do around certain groups as well, and one of these groups being our traditional Midlands-based audience. We want to try and win back their hearts and minds, essentially. After the show, we did a huge amount of research. We went out and we spoke to them, we did surveys, we did interviews, and we asked them why perhaps they didn't come in the same volume that they used to when we were at the NEC. And overwhelmingly, the reasons were, it was kind of barriers in their mind around us being in London, perceived costs, perceived ease of access, getting to London, getting to the venue, navigating across the transport system, and associated costs of big, expensive London. So we're doing a lot of work to try and break down those barriers. As Simon mentioned, we've got specific things such as 20% discounts on trains. We're working with London City Airport so we can offer discounted flights on anyone coming into London City. We're looking at carpooling initiatives, also free car parking for certain groups. And we have dedicated travel centres on all of the websites where all of this is being communicated. So for that specific group, some really sort of targeted incentives to try and overcome some of those barriers. Obviously, we want more visitors overall. Everybody does. But once they're here, we want to try and encourage them to move throughout P&M a lot more as well, and not just stay in the show that they've registered for. So last year at the shows, we took away the sort of logistical barriers of having scanners on each of the shows, and now we want to move beyond that and make it really clear what are the benefits of me moving between the different events, what's in it for me. So when we're looking at our education programs, we're structuring them by audience group and by themes and by topics. Similarly, when we're marketing you and your products, we're thinking who of our audience are these relevant for? And we're doing really dedicated streams of propositions, essentially, to say, this group here's everything across P&M that's relevant for you, to really try and encourage them to move around so that you see as many visitors as possible. We want to continue that international growth that I mentioned, and also certain sectors. Again, we know from speaking to you that you target often by specific sectors, and we want to make sure that we've got those represented on the show floor. Simon mentioned the increase in budget spend of these big end users, and that was made up largely from the growth groups we had around the South East and international, and we want to, again, continue to attract more of those. And then last but not least, we want to continue to get the installers. On IFSEC and FAREX specifically, they've been a core group since the shows began, and we want to make sure we've got a tight proposition and dedicated marketing campaign for them, which is what we're doing. So how's it going so far? 15 weeks out, registrations are absolutely flying. As of Friday, when we did our last weekly report, we had 10,500 pre-reg already. This is up year on year for where we are weeks out from the show in double-digit figures. International in particular is tracking really, really well at this stage across all of the shows, but in particular on Safety and Health Expo, which is fantastic news. And we believe is not only down to the marketing, but also the fact we're looking at content specifically for those international visitors. In terms of sectors, I can tell you that on the facility show, maintenance is the #1 sector at the moment from the registrations. On health and safety, it's construction. Across IFSEC and FAREX, it's actually government, which is great because we have the Safe Cities proposition for them. And across all of the shows, we're seeing that health and transport's tracking really high as well. And the good news is that at this stage, Midlands are tracking up year on year too. Obviously, we're going to be focusing a lot on these guys through our conversion campaign. So once they've registered, actually making them make that commitment to come. And that's hopefully where all of the things around travel, discounted hotels will come into play. So what have we been doing? In short, a lot. We have an absolutely huge campaign. We have, within UBM's own database, over 500,000 direct contacts, active contacts within these different industries that we're targeting on a regular basis. We use every single marketing channel you can, apart from broadcast. So that's everything from email to direct mail to telemarketing, SMS, apps, social, video content, pretty much you name it, and we're doing it. But one thing that we're doing differently this year is really sort of trying to drill down to those specific audience groups that I mentioned. We've created what we call personas, and these are basically representations of our core target groups. And across the series, we've got about 25, but it's about 3 or 4 per show of sort of core personas. Examples being on facilities, sort of 3 different levels of seniority within facilities management. On health and safety, the difference between perhaps a health and safety director with a UK remit versus an international remit. And then on IFSEC and FIREX, obviously the different parts of the buying chain, but again, tailored to whether they're international or UK. And we've created these really sort of what we hope are very targeted and relevant value propositions around content, around who they want to see out of the exhibitors, around networking and around features that will get them to the show. I'm just going to talk you through one example now. This is Ian. Now, Ian isn't a real person. He's just a representative of all of the insight that we've done around our northern installers at IFSEC. But I can just talk you through some of the things that we found out about him that relate to what we're now trying to do. So he's in his early 50s, and he is an MD of a security installation company. He's been in the security industry for 25 years, and he's been coming to IFSEC for 20 years. He's based up in Leeds, and in terms of coming down to the show, he just jumped on the train and then took a tube across, and he actually had no problems, didn't find London a barrier at all, because he's used to coming down and doing business here regularly. He's just UK focused at the moment, but he works across a range of different sectors. In terms of his challenges, it's around staff training, recruitment and retention, making sure he's got the rightly trained and accredited staff in his organisation, and the costs, obviously, that come with doing that. In terms of his passions, this is a direct quote, it's the challenge of an integrated solution really gets him going. He came down to the show with one colleague, and he stayed for one night. He would have liked to come for longer and bring more people, but again, restrictions over time out of the office and costs prevented him from doing so. He told us he doesn't actually need any visitor entertainment putting on in the evenings, because this year he had offers from 6 suppliers to go to their own evening entertainment dues. He actually heard about the move to London at an association meeting, and he recognises the value and the importance of having association support across all of our events. When he got to the event, he was a VIP, and he really enjoyed the benefit of having access to the lounge, some quiet space away from the hustle and the bustle of the show floor. Overall, he was happy with his event experience, but perhaps a couple of complaints. It was a bit hot, the queues were quite long on the first morning, and he was grateful for that space to escape because he could have somewhere to sit down and get a coffee. Moving on, I'd just like to mention a couple of the content initiatives that we're doing around the P&M campaign as well. So hopefully you all know that at UBM, the protection management portfolio isn't just exhibitions, it's also online content sites, ifsecglobal.com and SHP Online, and also SHP Magazine. And the event teams and the content teams work really, really closely together to come up with initiatives such as this one called Protecting London. And what it basically is a series of behind-the-scenes insights into some of the most iconic buildings and landmarks across London, looking at the teams across facilities, fire, safety and security within those buildings, and also celebrating their success in how they protect and manage those landmarks and buildings. And so this is Crossrail. It's the first example. It's about to be launched. And then other ones that we've managed to secure exclusive access to include Lord's Cricket Ground, the British Museum, Royal Albert Hall, and then UBM's very own brand new building, 240 Blackfriars. So keep your eyes peeled on SHP and ifsecglobal.com for more around this. And then finally, so that's everything that we're doing, what you guys need to do. We have a massive checklist of free marketing and PR tools and tips that we can help you with. It's all within the exhibitor zone on each show website. So hopefully you've had a login by now. Log in, go to the marketing and PR section. It's all in there. I'm not going to rattle through it now, but what I would say is that next door, after these presentations, the marketing team have a stand. So please come and talk to us and ask any questions, and the team will be happy to talk you through that checklist. The most important thing is to just talk to us and tell us what you're doing. Out of all of that research that we did after last year's event, overwhelmingly it came out that visitors are desperate to see innovation on the show floor. They want to see new products, they want to see updates to products, they want to know what's new and what's different. So we need you to tell us, and the more you tell us, the more we can then tell them and get you more traction on the show floor. So talk to your account managers, talk to your marketing team, as much as you possibly can. It's really important that you start thinking about your marketing and PR now, rather than just leaving it until you turn up at the show. So as I say, there's loads of things you can be doing, anything from personalised e-ticket invites to inviting your colleagues through our, inviting your guests, sorry, through our N200 registration tool. So please get on board and do as much as you possibly can. I'm just going to mention a couple of things specifically on here. So Visit Connect is part of N200's sort of lead management program. There's also something called the Partner Portal as well. They're going to speak shortly, so I won't say too much other than to say this is really great technology in order to invite people, manage them, and follow up your leads afterwards. And I would recommend you all get on board with it and really sort of make the most of it now. The Global Meetings program. We've had the IFSEC and FireX for the last couple of years, and Safety and Health Expo has been added to this for this year. And it's basically a one-to-one meeting service. We have an external agency sector who are doing a workshop later on. Just come in the back of the room now, perfect timing. And it's basically, they will manage putting together a program of one-to-one meetings for you with the visitors, the buyers that you want to meet. The buyers get to say whether they want to be there or not, so it's not wasting anybody's time in meetings that perhaps people don't want to be in. It's highly targeted, highly relevant, and it's free to take part in. So again, I'd really recommend you get on board with that. Finally, we can offer a VIP experience to your top clients and prospects. We offer it to up to 20 per exhibitor. Again, it's really simple to do. You just have to log in through the N200 Partner Portal, give us their details, and then we do the hard part of inviting them, upgrading them, and managing their experience on site. So to summarise, basically, it's all about doing as much as possible now, making as much noise. You've got our Twitter handles down here that you can see for your own relevant show. So make sure you're following us, sharing what we're doing, liking what we're doing, and basically shouting as much as possible about the fact that you're going to be there and what you're doing. And that's it from me. If you do have any other further details or questions, as I mentioned, we've got a stand next door, so come and see us afterwards, and we'll be happy to go through any of what I've just said in a bit more detail. But they're my contact details too, if you want to drop me a line. Thanks very much.